What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Truly Me. I hope you guys are enjoying the content so far. We are going to be doing a lot of stuff. We're going to be jumping back into also doing tutorial videos for you guys, step-by-steps, things like that you guys can watch on YouTube. Again, we've kind of slowed down due to COVID, but now we're going to be working back into stuff like that. We are also doing challenges once a week with my best friends, and then we have the podcast, which you guys can also listen to and download on iTunes, Apple Podcast, and also Spotify. So make sure you guys, we'll link it down below so you guys can check it out on there. You guys can download it and listen to it wherever you guys are. Jumping into a little bit about online, like the shop. We're still shipping out normal stuff on a regular basis, so you guys can place your orders. And pretty much that's it with that. Trainings, we are still trying to sort out and figure out. There's a ton of different, every county, every state is different. So right now we don't completely know. But if you are interested in privates, you guys can now book privates where I do in Temecula, California. If you are looking for like one of our trainings where we travel, those have been postponed, not canceled, just postponed. And we'll release more info as we get more info on that. So just make sure that you guys are keeping up to date on the website if you're looking into any of those trainings. We also offer, or I also offer, mentorship. So we do that virtually, FaceTime, Skype, anything like that, Zoom, where we basically take an hour together and we mentor to your needs. So whatever you need as a lash artist, we just sit down, we talk, we go over everything you need, and it's just an endless mentorship for you. So that's also cool. We'll link everything down below so you guys can check all that stuff out. Let's jump into today's video. As you guys have read, we are talking about mental health, which is never an easy subject to talk about. It's a very heavy subject to talk about. And everybody, I feel, deals with it in some sort of way. And whether we acknowledge it or not, that's a different story. But I think that we all struggle with some sort of mental health, depression, anxiety, things like that. For me personally, I went through something traumatic in my life that brought on heavy anxiety for me. And growing up, growing up and then up until that experience, I never believed in anxiety or depression or things like that. I thought that like people were just crazy when they said that they had anxiety or they were depressed. I don't know. But when I experienced it, when I went through that, I now fully have like a different understanding for what anxiety is. For the first year of that experience, it was honestly the most debilitating time in my life. And it was also at the same time that I was building the business. I stepped away from lashing and I was just focused on LBK. So, and this happened all at that same time. For me, I literally thought I was dying. I was in and out of the ER on a regular basis. I thought I had everything under the sun. I couldn't figure out why I was going through what I was going through. I thought my body, I really thought maybe I had cancer. Maybe I don't know. I thought I had everything. And I just remember waking up in the middle of the night, feeling like I was going to faint, feeling like I was going to throw up. It was honestly the most heavy feeling I've ever felt, and it was a consistent thing. So when it happened, it was kind of out of nowhere. And I was like, what is this? And I remember I called my dad and I was like, I think I'm having a panic attack or an anxiety attack. I've never had one before, so I didn't know what it was. And I was like, I just feel like I'm dying. I honestly feel like I'm dying, and I think I should go to the ER. He was like, I think you're just having anxiety. He had some anxiety medication that he gave me, and he was like, try this. If it works, then it's anxiety. If it's not, you need to go to the ER. So I took it. It helped. I was completely fine after I took it, and I realized, okay, something's going on, and I didn't know where to start to fix it. Now, anxiety or depression can come from multiple different things that happened in your childhood, things that happened as an adult, certain experiences, car crashes. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is how are you going to deal with it? How are you going to not let it affect you? How are you going to get through it? And something that I learned about anxiety, for me, it was just anxiety. I didn't have depression, but it was anxiety. Something that I learned about it is that it's always going to be there. It's not something that is just going to go away one day. I constantly am having to battle it. And it took me a solid year to really get it under control, where I was like, okay, I understand what it is now. And now I can fix, or at least like help get through it. Because for the first year, I just thought I was sick. I thought that there was something wrong. The doctors couldn't figure it out. I was like, my heart would race crazy. I would start to feel like super lightheaded, super dizzy. I remember going to the grocery store and I was literally just shopping and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to faint. Out of nowhere, I would have this crazy anxiety. And, it's something that's so debilitating for so long because you want to understand, like, what is this? What is causing this? Why all of a sudden do I have this? And how do I get through it? So a couple of things that I did, obviously in the first, like, I think 6 months, I was just in and out of the ER. Calling my doctor, getting blood work done, getting x-rays, getting CTs. Like, I probably had every test under the sun done on me just to make sure that it wasn't medical. Because for me, I thought it was medical because I was like, there's just no way. So we did all the tests and every doctor was like, you just have anxiety. You need to take this. You just have anxiety. You need to take this. And for me, I don't take like I will not take any sort, like I barely will take Tylenol. I try to do like only the holistic. So I was not going to be put on anxiety medication. I didn't want to be dependent on that at all. So what I did was I told my doctor that I remember they prescribed me Xanax. I took the prescription. I never filled it. I was like, there's no way. Like, I'm not going to be stuck on anxiety medication for the rest of my life. It's just, I'm not doing it. So, I told myself, like, you're going to go through it. You're going to figure it out. You're going to try holistic things and you're going to go that way. So I honestly I got into reading, like, I'm super spiritual. So I started reading the Bible. I started praying. I started doing things like that, which helped me so much because this was something that was completely out of my control. I couldn't go through it alone. Physically, I knew I would go through it alone, but like mentally, spiritually, I knew I couldn't get through it alone. So I focused really on God, on the Bible, and that was like probably my foundation of how I got healed, how I got better as far as anxiety goes. I would try teas. I would, like, green tea really helps. Even to this day, green tea really helps for me when I start to feel anxious. But I remember for like the first 2 or 3 months, every single night, I would wake up in a full-blown panic attack. And I couldn't tell you why, like, during that time. It was at night. Some days I would be fine, and it was just at night I would wake up in an anxiety attack. And then there were days when I would just be shopping at the grocery store, and I would have like a complete anxiety attack. No idea what triggered it. It would just happen to me at the most random times. So for me, I had to mentally get right again. And during all this time period, I was also really stressed out, really focused on building the business. It was just like a chaotic time in my life on top of what had happened. So and this was during the time when I actually stopped lashing. I took a break from lashing. I think I was super overwhelmed with that. I was filming a lot. We were building the business. So a lot was going on in my life. So if I can tell you guys one thing, it's to step back from whatever you think is causing your anxiety. Take a step back from it, remove yourself from it for a little bit, and see if that helps at all. Just me removing myself from lashing tremendously helped my body, how I was feeling, my mental health. I was going insane. There was just too much for one person to do, on top of having a baby or a toddler and being a mom. It's a lot of pressure, and I think that we go through things solely sometimes, which is a lot, and it's heavy on our minds, or we have a lot of pressure. So being able to let go of certain things and just heal, that is so important to me now. I started doing yoga during that period of time, and yoga helps a lot because it's all about, it's all mental. So being able to be in control of your mind and in control of your thoughts and not going down like that rabbit hole of where you're just full of anxiety, Even to this day, I still struggle with anxiety, but I can control it. I understand that it's anxiety and that it's not whatever my fear is. I think that something for me that was hard during the beginning of it was I thought worse of what it really actually was. So when I figured out that it was just anxiety and nothing physical or mental was wrong with me, it was just I wasn't sick physically. It was just I mentally was not right. Then when I started to have anxiety, I was like, okay, it's just anxiety. Like, I'm not going to die from this. I'm going to be okay. I just have to get through it. My mom struggles with anxiety, and something that helps her is sweets. So like when she has anxiety, she eats candy or something sweet, and that takes it away. When I have anxiety, I have to drink green tea. Like there's little things they say to like focus on stuff. Focus on something you can touch, you can see, you can feel. And you just like balance yourself out again and just put yourself into a different reality where it's like, okay, it's going to be okay. Anxiety is such a heavy, heavy thing that honestly, I feel like so many people deal with. So if you're watching this and you deal with anxiety, just give the video a thumbs up. We just want to see how many people really deal with this without having to expose yourself. I'm doing this video because I feel like it's something that is so worldwide, but it's also so like shamed upon. No one wants to say that they have anxiety. No one wants to feel like they have a mental health problem. And especially in the world that we live in and where everybody needs to be perfect. Everybody has to look a certain way or feel a certain way. It's such bullshit, honestly, because every single person, and especially with social media, deals with some sort of anxiety, depression, pressure to feel a certain way, which messes with your mental health. It's just, for me, I went through it solo. Like, thank God I had my family. My mom's a nurse. Like, I just had people that I could go to talk to. Because it can be something that's so overwhelming that leads to such like a dark path. So I'm just grateful that I have people in my life that help me through that time. My grandma, shout out to my grandma. She's probably the number one person that I talk to throughout all of that. And I still to this day, always, she's like my one person I call. So if you have someone that you can go to during a time where you're stressed or you're worried or scared or anything like that, really stick to that person because they become a rock in your life where it's like, okay, I know I could go to this person. I'm not judged, things like that. And that's really important to help you get through that because mental health is clearly something that you got to go through every day. Having a positive mindset, it's easier said than done sometimes. So anyways, for me, what did I do? How did I get through this? How am I here today? I spoke to a lot of doctors, spoke to a holistic doctor, tried to figure out maybe my hormones were off. What is really going on in my body? I realized it is just anxiety. I was way too stressed out. On top of obviously the thing that triggered it from the get-go, which I'm not going to say because it honestly doesn't matter. But what matters is how do you get better from it and how can I express how I did it so that maybe it can help one of you guys get better from it. So I started meditating. Meditation was huge for me. I started eating differently, stopped eating processed food, stopped eating things like that. Really started to balance myself and center myself. So would go to the water a lot, things like that. The ocean has healing properties in it, you guys. Just going and touching the grass with your bare feet, touching sand with your bare feet, these things balance out our bodies. So I started doing stuff like that. I started hanging out with people. That's one thing that I feel like people do when they are stressed or have anxiety, depressed, that they seclude themselves and they start to be solo. Best thing you can do during that time is surround yourself with people who make you happy. Surround yourself with people who are positive, who are going to bring light into your life. You guys don't want to sit in the depression, honestly, and don't let it bring you down. If I let this control me any more than it did during that time, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have LBK. I wouldn't be doing this podcast. So really overcoming it and using your resources to find and figure out, what is causing it, what caused it, and how do you deal with that mentally so that it can't control you. I stopped looking at certain things. I stopped surrounding myself with certain people that messed with my spirit, that messed with my energy. There were certain people in my life during that time that when I went around them, just being in their presence, I had anxiety. And I am like, I can feel energy so powerfully. Like, even being in a room with someone, I can tell if they mess with my spirit, if they mess with my energy. So I know off the bat, like, okay, that is someone that I just cannot be around because of that specific reason. So if you feel that, listen to it. That's your intuition, you guys. That is your spirit and your body telling you that this person or this energy is not for you. So, in energy and spirits is such a different like podcast. I feel like we could talk heavy about that, but you really have to get in tune with yourself and just figure out what is for you, who is for you. And if it's not, then remove it from your life. I had to remove people from my life. I had to remove situations, had to move. And you got to do what makes you happy. Stepping away from work was something that I had to do. That's why I stopped lashing. And now I'm at a point in my life where I want to go back to lashing. I want to lash again because it still makes me happy. Just during that time, it was just too much for me. So I had to remove myself and look at kind of like the bigger picture. Mental health can be devastating or it could be empowering. And so to this day, like if I get anxiety, something that helped for me, it's holistic. It's called L-theanine. And it is a holistic herb that calms your nervous system. I still take it to this day. I take things that I know help me. I went through I remember I bought these beads that were supposed to help. I did the crystals. I did literally everything to help stop this anxiety from happening, where that I could control it when I when I was going through it, I knew what I would do to stop it. It got to the point where me waking up in the middle of the night didn't happen anymore, or it would only happen sometimes. And I knew what I needed to do. I would take an L-theanine, I would drink a green tea, I would meditate, pray, and then I'd be okay. And I just knew, okay, it's just anxiety. I'm going to get through it. Being powerful and being strong in your mind and understanding that you are in control and you can't let it control you at all. Even though it feels like it has complete control of your body and your mind, it really doesn't. We are so much more powerful than we think that we are. And if we give ourselves enough credit and really mentally focus on being positive, good energy, good spirit, things like that, you guys will be lifted back up. And just remove anything from your life that is not benefiting you in a positive way. Obviously, mental health can come from very, very tragic things that have happened. And if you guys need someone to talk to, there are hotlines you guys can call. But don't let those things define you as a person, and don't let anxiety or depression control or predestine you to be somebody that you don't want to be. We have the power, we have the mind to control our lives and to be positive and to make changes. And it's all about your mindset. So mental health for me is something that I still struggle with to this day. I can just control it. I understand what it is, and I understand my body and how I can get through it. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen to me. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect. I still go through situations that make me anxious, that mess with my spirit. And I have to just be strong enough to know that this is going to pass. This isn't going to define me. This isn't going to break me down. Life's stressful. We go through situations. That's life. We lose people. Things happen. People die. We lose things, we lose people, and it's honestly so not cool that we have to go through that, but we do. So it's all about perspective and how you guys are going to get through it. I understand it on a level of experiencing it. So anybody who's going through something hectic that you feel like you can't get through, you're going to get through it. Stay positive. If you're spiritual, read your Bible, you guys. Talk to people, your parents, family, friends, sisters, brothers, people that are there for you, that are going to help you. it's not good to hold it inside. And I really, really honestly just hope that you guys can find someone to talk to, because for me, that is what helped me. I remember sitting in my room one night going crazy. I was like, this is not like, and I didn't even want to tell anybody because I thought that I sounded crazy. And then when I spoke to people, I was like, okay, I'm not alone. Like, people go through this. And it's just something that we have to deal with. And it's all about how we deal with it. All right, guys. So that is my mental health story. I hope that this helps someone in some sort of way. I trying to get more deep with you guys on certain things, because I know that people might think like, you know, I have this certain lifestyle or portray me a certain way, but I'm just like everybody else. I started just like you guys. I go through things just like you guys. No one's perfect. And honestly, mental health, death, all those things don't discriminate. Everybody goes through certain things in their life. But I hope you guys like the video. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share the video if you guys think it's going to help somebody out. Make sure you guys subscribe, and we will be back with another episode of Truly Me next week. Love you guys.